Knack is back. Half of Knack is back. Half Knack.
It's all right. We made it though. Half Knack half. How you doing, Coop?
Half Knack back half Knack.
What's up, man?
Feeling good, brother. Calling in from beautiful Costa Rica.
Let's
We're
see
out
that
here
view.
with the boy,
Let's
Daniel
see that
Allan,
view.
working on some new music.
Oof.
Sheesh. First beautiful sunset we've gotten. I will say it's been very rainy here in Costa Rica, to be expected, but thankful and grateful to be here. Getting really close to the source of this new music, getting some content, thinking about live streaming. Daniel's going live on Twitch. Your boy's going live on Zora. Using this as a somewhat of an offsite for me, I would say, to get a little bit inspired, some new motivation, thinking about Coop Rex a little bit differently, but vibes are good. Vibes are high. No complaints.
Wait, so it's like you, Daniel, and who else?
Me, Daniel, his videographer, Mark, and his producer, Arlo, who he's got a couple of tracks with. And basically, we got 100 demos, and we're looking to finish a bunch of them and leave this trip with a foundation for a new project.
Daniel, I mean, we keep talking about Daniel sporadically on the pod, but Daniel's content game is crazy. Actually crazy. And I kind of want to text Dan and be like, how are you doing it? And for him to teach me something about how to create like quality content.
Right.
Jeez, that's the setup.
I mean, yeah, we're definitely like out here to the max.
Wow.
You can probably see the sunset as well.
So you're telling me it's just him and his videographer, and his videographer does all the editing, the producing?
Daniel does a lot of the editing too. I would say that it's very much like a 50-50 process.
Wow.
Like videographer gets the shot. Daniel looks at the way that it's come together. Videographer will put together a first draft. Daniel will get really in the weeds on editing.
Wow, super cool. And how long have you guys been out there for?
We've been here for 3 days now. We got here Monday night, and it's Thursday now, and we're here until next Thursday.
Wow. I've been thinking about doing like a little solo offsite, especially ahead of DevCon in Argentina, Buenos Aires in 2 weeks or so. I was thinking of going to Peru.
DevConnect.
DevConnect.
I saw you say Devcon on Twitter, and we must stipulate the difference there. I think to me, and maybe this is not entirely factual with the way I interpret it, Devcon is like a fully produced conference. You have like a major conference center with like a ton of different booths and a main stage and a speaker list and everything like that. I think DevConnect is a little bit more hackery in spirit. And so this isn't like an official DevCon proper where you're going to see some crazy building with a bunch of stuff going on. I think you'll pull up to a venue and there'll be a bunch of people sitting around and hacking and doing cool stuff there, but slightly different framing. Although for all intents and purposes, I'm viewing it as DevCon. I'm sure you're viewing it as DevCon. And I think that's why we're taking the trek all the way down to Argentina.
Yeah. I would not be going if it wasn't for Base Batch. Blueprint got into Base Batch 2, and we heard about this on Monday. So I guess I'm still trying to get dialed in with what's the difference. My conference game has been so off too. I know we've like mutually, I don't know, you haven't been to a crypto conference in a while. The last thing that I've been to that was crypto related was in Idaho, that thing that Lucas set up. That wasn't really like a conference. It was more of a get together, but like a formal ETH Global, an ETH conference of sorts. I've strayed away. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about that.
I will say I'm definitely being strategic about my time spent at DevConnect. And so we're doing a little Fire Eyes offsite, which should be pretty cool.
Nice.
And then there is a base event that I'll be DJing at, which I'm pretty excited about. There's a Rave event, which should be pretty fun. I know Refraction's doing a little something down there. And then shout out to Brett for One Confirmation, who's hosting like a consumer founder meetup, basically just gathering of the minds of people building consumer crypto apps. So that should be pretty fun too.
Yeah, I'm going to the One Confirmation thing for sure. Sick. What happened in crypto this week? Actually, a bunch of cool stuff.
Everyone believes that we've entered a bear market in crypto now. Okay. I don't know if that's been coming across as much on your timeline, but that sentiment has been really pronounced this week. I think it's been reflective in a lot of token prices. And I think there's kind of been a shift in mentality from we're going for all-time highs and going to soar past it to you should think about getting a job because we're entering into another 18-month bear market from here. Yeah. Does that come across in your world or not as much?
I definitely feel the heaviness. ETH took a major hit, and that day that ETH took a hit, so did my mentality and my state of mind. Full transparency. So I don't see it as much on the timeline per se as like a traditional bear market. I think it's just a market dip in the greater bull market. I'm still seeing fundraising announcements. I'm still seeing people posting wins on their timeline. So I don't treat it as like a traditional bear market for what it's worth. what could also be true that we've discussed on previous episodes, these cycles are becoming shorter with time. So maybe this bear market that we're in will last for a few months and then it'll tick back up to some point. Lucas, who's not here, posted this meme where basically looking back at the price of ETH across different time periods. I think it was, I forgot what it is, but ETH just has consistently stayed at 3.3K. Like,
Yeah.
stop. It's fucking brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I want to pull it up. I feel the sentiment myself. I feel the heaviness just because my bag's tanked, but nonetheless, trying not to focus on the market despite it affecting me. I don't know. How do you see it?
I try and separate my own personal crypto holdings from the positioning of Kubrax as a company and our reliance on crypto for success as an application. I felt a little bit of that heaviness a few weeks ago and took some chips off the table. I mean, here we're looking at it. ETH has been at 3.3K since May 2021, pretty consistently through November 2025.
So bad.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Wait, you have really good instincts on when to sell. I've noticed that over the years, as I've gotten to know you, you have good instincts on when to sell. What happened a couple weeks ago that made you take chips off the table?
Tax season happened. I was cashing out some crypto to pay for taxes. I cashed out enough to pay for taxes, but not enough to like secure a little, nest egg or something like that. And about like a week and a half ago, I was just like thinking about more my positioning in life right now and what would give me peace of mind. And I'm looking at my chips, I'm looking at my soul, I'm looking at my ETH, my hype, etc. And I'm just like, I don't feel as bought into these things right this second as maybe I do when like the market's hot and everything's feeling good. And it was kind of just like a vibe check. I mean, we joke a lot about here about like, it's just a gut feeling, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think that I kind of just had an intuition that something felt a little bit off, at least in the market at that specific moment in time. And so it's not like I sold like an insane amount of crypto, but it definitely was like a healthy percentage for me. And, basically just cashed it out, put it into a bank account to give me a little bit more peace of mind for day-to-day life. I think that I've also noticed that I just haven't been as good trading in the last like month or so. I find myself kind of reaching to take these trades on FOMO and whatnot. And I think that when I'm really risk on, I feel like I really have an edge in the market and I have a position that I'm trying to like build because I feel very aware and in tune with what the meta is, aka Zora Creator Coins. I feel like I was very early to Zora and Creator Coins in general. So I was really risk on, I was trading a lot, etc. I think these days when it comes to me trading on FOMO or Farcaster or even Zora to a lesser degree, I just don't feel like there's much of an edge there right this second. And I feel like the result of that edge is for me to take some chips off the table and just be okay, recognizing that you're not going to have it 24/7 and just treat that a little better. I did pretty well in the Zcash trade, nothing compared to a lot of other people that are out here, but bought a decent amount of Zcash at like maybe $80 and it's up to like 400, $500 now. So taking profits on that along the way. And yeah, I don't know. I think that in the past, I believed that I could just 10x my net worth every cycle, right? It's like you have this number in mind, you multiply your portfolio every crypto cycle, you're going to do multiples on the last one. And I think that I came to the humbling conclusion that that's not going to be the case this cycle. To have that mentality is probably pretty bad from like a risk perspective. And so I wanted to just feel a little bit more cozy in my spot positions and in my cash on hand. And when the market dips as much as it did, not feel like my entire net worth is getting evaporated, but that I've actually been able to secure a little bit of change for the rainy day that's ahead.
I feel like the difference between you and I don't spend time being as degenerate, like using apps like FOMO or trading Zora coins. I have the knack of wanting to take a bet and just hold and see where things play out versus trying to time the market. And part of me wishes I was way more active in the day-to-day trading because I feel like all crypto culture has shifted to be in that scene and for you to stay in the know. It's probably where you get your instincts from as well. Just being a curated timeline that you have. And I just don't have that. And I feel like the more I try to force it, the more I find myself like getting worse at it. So I'm kind of just accepting with what I'm good at and where my strengths are. And that's just trying to collect ETH and earn ETH, and sit on that ETH and then sell it when I need to pay for life or for taxes or whatever it may be. And I took chips off the table last month to pay for taxes, to live and whatever it may be. And I take chips off the table every month to do so. But it's still nothing hurts more than feeling like you didn't take enough off the table and feeling like you're way overexposed and that just like running through your body and affecting everything that you do. And I can't imagine what it could feel like from somebody who's like a completely like leveraged trader, like highly degenerate, betting God knows how much money on a per trade basis. And for me, it's like maybe it gets me thinking. I don't know if you ever feel that this way, but I saw this tweet. I got to find it. It's like what you have to be building for is like either a polymarket like competitor, a launch pad of sorts, and there's one other thing. And I feel like you have to be the user that you build for. At least that's how I think about it. And building for traders is something that I'm just so bad at, and I wish I was much better at. And it brings me to one of the big announcements from this week is FOMO raising 17 mil Series A announcement from led by Benchmark. So that's pretty cool. I remember you being pretty early to FOMO as well. What are your thoughts? I think it's pretty epic. I mean, that's for me basically saying that I don't know if I feel the bear market as I typically would because I see a $17 million Series A led from a trad investor for what it's worth. How do you see it?
I think one of the unique things here is that Benchmark took the entire round, to my understanding. So it's not like this was like a party round with a bunch of different funds and a ton of different angels. I think there's like a handful of small angels in here, but I'm pretty sure that Benchmark took pretty much the entirety of this round, which is very aggressive and I think very unique for a fund like Benchmark. It's my understanding that this round happened a few months back and now is kind of the strategic time to announce it, which, respect the game basically. I think that it makes perfect sense with FOMO's positioning in like the trading bot war. I saw that they are now number 2 behind Axiom in terms of like retail trading volume and swaps that are happening across all different networks. And so they're really well positioned. I think that the team is extremely strong. I think that the app is really slick. And I think that it's really just highlighting the pinpoint here of like what on-chain social really is at its core. And it's social trading. I think that for a long time, we've looked at the Farcasters of the world and these decentralized social networks like Lens, et cetera. But what FOMO has done right is really hone in on the trading nature of crypto and make that a social experience. And what's interesting to me is that this isn't the first time this has been attempted. You have apps like Interface, you have apps like Clicker. Right. We just saw Share get announced last week. But I think that FOMO has just been relentless about UX. And, Ian from FOMO posted a good thread about how crypto has a UX problem. And I think what FOMO has done really well is make it extremely easy to onboard, extremely easy to swap, easy to invite your friends, and just really focusing on UX as their sort of competitive advantage. I think it's really telling. And I think that the usage is, grown as a result.
So UX is basically their biggest competitive moat to build, to be first to market and capture most of the market. So I have the app. I haven't formally onboarded. So what you just like you can onboard money really, really easily. Like what have you noticed be like the big differentiators between an app like Interface or Share or Clicker or even Farcaster for what it's worth?
Yeah, it's really easy to get funds into your wallet. Everything's denominated in dollars. And so if you're someone that's new to crypto trading for the first time, you're not buying ETH, you're not buying Sol, you're not buying Bitcoin. You're just depositing $1,000 of cash. And then the way that you're trading that is a lot more social in nature. So like their primary screen is like a leaderboard of who has the highest like P&L on a daily basis. And their go-to-market strategy has been, let me find an account on FOMO that put in $1,000 and made $100,000 and share that across their socials. And I think we've seen time and time again with crypto, this is the blueprint to getting new users, is basically championing this story that I can put in $100. And if I do well, I'm going to 10,000x my money and make 100 grand. Right. And I think seeing those, examples happen and then having an app that communicates that and shows that in a really profound way, I think that's like the core spirit of what the crypto trading app is. And then building around that and making that easy to do, I think is where they've done well for themselves.
I think some of the meme this week was seeing the comparison between FOMO and Share, both using the eye emoji. And now with this new announcement, FOMO completely gets rid of the eyes, just leaves the logo mark FOMO. I love that. I really love that.
I didn't even notice that. Do you think is that the case?
It looks like it.
They don't even have a Twitter.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that. Like, FOMO doesn't have a
what's
Twitter
FOMO?
account.
I know FOMO from the eyes. I don't know FOMO from this new FOMO font, FOMO.family. Right. But I guess they still have it in their Chrome tab, whatever it may be. But yeah, super cool. Let's see what else happened this week. I think the other thing that keeps coming back to my mind is to see what 11 a.m. did this week. Mm-hmm. I want to pull up that tweet. Maybe as I pull it up, talk about it for a second because I can't multitask.
So from a high level, 11 a.m. is a crypto podcast that interviews founders and traders specifically on Base and within the Ethereum ecosystem, but more broadly, just like anyone that's doing well within crypto as a whole. It's by the founders of Seed Club, so Jess Sloss and Josh Cornelius, and they've been doing this 11 a.m. show for the better half of 6 to 8 months at this point here. And what's really interesting about this announcement is that they basically started to enact a trading strategy that allows them to participate in all of the coins of anyone who comes onto the show. And so I believe the inspiration of this is I saw that there was like a counterparty TV, so Thread Guy stream, basically did like a thread folio breakdown, which took a look at if you would have bought in the coin at the time that all of these founders came on the podcast, how much would your portfolio be up? And I saw that there was a very similar format here where 11 a.m. is basically just trying to say, we are bringing on the best and brightest guests. If you're someone that's highly active in crypto and you're looking for edge, watch our podcast and you'll be able to find tokens early. And this now basically ties in all of the success of these tokens to their creator coin on Zora. And so I don't know if you want to kind of go through the 1, 2, 3, 4 here and give it a breakdown.
Yeah, so the 1, 2, 3, 4 is how it works. 100% of the fees generated from 11 a.m. trading are now allocated to their buying strategy, their OTC buying strategy. I assume it's OTC, right? It's not like backdoor deals of sorts. Okay. The tokens of guests are bought on the morning of their show. Okay, there you go. At a dynamic amount based on recent trading volume. TP limit orders are automatically set to 50% at 2x, 25% at 5x, and the remaining 25% at 10x. The returns from all sales automatically market buy and burn 11 a.m. It's a cool flywheel where now it keeps people engaged because you have an automatic buy pressure that comes from a show that already has some like starting to build distribution. And the bet is that if they're buying and everybody else is going to buy, it's going to help pump the token and get people basically for it. So it's really cool. It's like really, really cool. A really interesting way to align incentives through media with viewers that I haven't seen before. I think this is like the first time I'm seeing like a fun, innovative model for the trading world when it comes to media outside of what we've been doing. For example, incentivizing people to collect content as an example. It's like still leveraging incentives and behaviors to get people to do what you want when you want them and do it in a way where everybody wins by doing so, or at least everybody, whoever, sells in time for what it's worth. I love this. I thought this was really innovative. So shout out Seed Club for coming up with this. Did they come up with this? Did they get inspired from somebody else? Do you know?
I think it was a combination of like the punk strategy narrative that happened a while ago, the thread portfolio that was happening a bit ago. And then I saw that there was like this new account that came out of stealth that was like Zora Treasury, basically. And if you go to the quote retweet on 11 a.m., you might be able to find it. But they were like, we're excited to back, 11 a.m. in this regard. So my guess would be that they were somewhat involved in like the strategy and planning of this to some degree.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. There's also like random Zora account that I guess maybe this is I don't know if it's actually a Zora account or maybe this is the account you're talking about. This one.
Oh, that's
Zarka?
the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay.
Yep.
We're aligned. Just a complete whale menace to our timeline.
Absolute whale.
Like genuinely.
I mean, this definitely ties into like a cast or a tweet that I put out the other day, which was like, I think that creator coins are an interesting position here because they're somewhat differentiated from like other coins in the market in terms of like the perspective of how they're engaging with the space. I think that, this 11 a.m. strategy is unique because they're bringing on like crypto founders and buying their tokens. But I just feel like we're in this interesting pocket now where like if a creator's only expectation is to post content, that's actually pretty pervasive activity that can happen throughout a bear market. And so I've been going a lot harder on my own Zora live stream here, really trying to like get ahead of the curve on that front, finding engaging ways to just like reward the chat and get people to show up to the stream. And it feels different to me in the sense that like there's not an expectation of me trying to put you on to the next 100x meme coin for my brand to be consistent. And I think that's like a very positive reframing from a lot of these past iteration of social tokens, where I think the expectation was that you would constantly deliver alpha or utility, as opposed to now it's like, I'm just making good content and you're betting on me getting more popular as a creator.
Right. But where do the content coins fall into this narrative? They seem to not have any value of any sort into any of the strategies that 11 a.m. is deploying, despite how many pieces of content they published and coined on Zora. I never see any more like commentary of content coins on my timeline other than maybe from Jesse of them trying to coin posts to the base app, which we've been
Yeah.
actively experimenting with, which I can share some really fun insights in doing so. But all the content coin meta and how all that volume being driven, to create like this super cycle flywheel within your microeconomy, it seems to have kind of disappeared a little bit. And maybe for a better reason, maybe because the real PMF is the profile coin, is the betting on the creator itself and speculating on one coin versus diluting liquidity across a number of coins. So I actually think, maybe I'm answering my own question here because I see you nodding, but I actually think there will be a time for that. I think the space is potentially too small and attention is too small to properly, capture value from a viral piece of video and try to correlate that value, that virality from traditional networks into transactions on these new networks.
Totally.
Yeah, I don't think the two meld quite yet. Maybe that's what Zora's finding out too. How do you see it?
Well, I saw this interesting post the other day. I'm going to try and pull it up here if I can, but it basically talks about why crypto can't build anything in the long term. And it's basically just this commentary on the fact that the meta in crypto changes so often that if you're not constantly just like building something new every 18 months, you're kind of in like a pretty tough spot here. So this is a good thread by this account called Rosie. And it basically just looks at like this 18-month product cycle here of how every 18 months in crypto, there's a new narrative and there's a new thing to jump onto. And it makes it really difficult for anyone that isn't just constantly pivoting to new things and trying to just like catch on to the new thing that's hot. And so I think it ties back into your commentary there because like content coin, creator coins, I think they're almost going through their like 18-month narrative cycle right now. And I think the reality is that like a lot of the stuff that was in early on when the cycle was hot and when memes were hot and when, scene coins were in and there was all these like rapid clankers that were launching and stuff like that. I think that that's kind of like cooling off a bit. And so I think now we're kind of trying to see like what's going to fall out of this whole content coin, creator coin narrative. And I think to your point, Chevy, it's like right now, the creator coins are really what won in the eyes of something like Zora. But now I think there's still a gap and a question to be figured out on like the content layer. And I don't think any of us quite have that answer yet.
I'll tell you what I'm learning is that working with trad creators in cohort 3, they don't care about market cap. Like they don't see market cap as a signal of their success per se just yet. And I saw Jesse or somebody from 11 a.m. tweet this, like they've made like 18K off trading volume so far in fees. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not a lot. Like that's not a lot of money for a coin that has a market cap of 2.5 mil, whatever it was at the other day. And creators don't see that as like a viable way to build something of substance around them. They see it maybe as another tool, but the challenge is trying to get them, like I'm realizing that like they don't care. Like they don't care about market cap. Like they see this number, they don't fully understand it despite hosting an entire week dedicated to trying to teach them about it. And that could 100% be my fault. I'm just maybe not doing a good job. I'll own that fully. But I'd like to think that something was reciprocated, something entered the mind of the trad creator to understand how the new internet works of tokenizing value. And all they care about is like, so how much did I make today? Like, did I sell content? Like, okay, I see people trading my post, but 10 cents. Okay, cool. Like that doesn't move the needle for me. So maybe it comes from a place of they're impatient. Maybe again, to what I said earlier, the larger these networks become, the more money that gets funneled in through all these transactions, the more fees that creators can take, maybe the more distribution content gets in this new format. So maybe it is the best way to showcase value on the internet. But the creators that I'm working with, they don't seem to care. And all of them have anywhere between 200K to 350K market caps on BP.fun. And so it's like, I'm struggling to like see I still think coins, to the last episode, are the right way forward for a particular content format or a particular value generation format, i.e. betting on a creator and getting exposure to everything that they do, kind of like what you did with Daniel Allan and creating this umbrella clause. I think there's a world where what you created, I feel like, and what's happening right now kind of meld, where value that you bet on somehow gets siphoned back into the tokens that you hold. In a traditional sense, without necessarily it being deemed as a unregistered security for what it's worth. Maybe by the time the Trump era ends, we'll have more clarity around what we could do around bringing value back to token holders in a legal way. So it feels like we're definitely making progress in the right direction. But the beauty is that when you bring something to market, you get everybody making noise around it. You got the people that hate it, you got the people that love it, and then it just forces the market to innovate around it and to create new areas of it. And I think for what it's worth, it's what you're doing with song coins and what you've been doing with Cooper Records. I think I'm part of that equation as well, and a number of other people that are experimenting with this coins format. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but that's how I feel.
I think it's been interesting to watch Farcaster go full on coin mode now with the acquisition of Clanker. And I don't know if you saw, but they just did like a no fee November where they're basically taking no swap fees as a means of trying to incentivize traders to come trade over there. I saw that they've been being really aggressive around like the UX around trading and whatnot. So I agree with your take that for creators, market cap is an extremely foreign concept. I think that when I talk to my artists about the song coins we've been launching, they don't understand what they are, what they represent, or what like the point of them is, frankly. And so I think that I completely agree with you that from a creator's perspective, they just want to know how to be able to make money by doing anything in the crypto world. And to them, the idea of having something be worth like 250K market cap doesn't make sense. To them, what makes sense is I see that I have $1,000 in my wallet. I don't really care how I got it. I know that I just did good because I made $1,000 here, which is, it takes me this to make $1,000 over there. So that's their like train of thought.
Right.
I think that you and I are in a unique spot of working with creators who have never touched crypto before. And so as we try and understand their motivation, it's conflicting with all of the behaviors that exist from crypto native traders, users, degenerates today. And so it's kind of this constant push and pull of like, you know, creators who are new to the space want this thing. Traders who have been here for a long time want this thing. Who are you catering to, and how do you build something that speaks to both of them? And you know, I think we're seeing now with these apps like FOMO and these funding rounds, it's like the space is still going to keep funding the things that have product market fit in crypto because those historically have been the things that make the most money from trading fees. So, yeah, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in.
I think with every new fundraising round or any new Series A that appears is like a lot of product insight that you could learn from those respective tools that people are using. And I need to dive deeper into FOMO to figure out the onboarding flow, because that's still the biggest problem in crypto. One of the biggest killers of getting somebody to onboard via your app is requiring them to either have an existing Coinbase or SEX, like a centralized exchange account, and or if not that, to onboard via a Stripe integration where they have to put in their social security number. And then why the fuck does this app want to take my social security? Like we grew up learning not to give your social out. Especially to a new app that's asking you to buy something. So the entire onboarding experience is just broken. So it seems as if maybe they cracked the code. And also, we've been thinking about switching to USDC completely, like USD payments on the app.
That's what we're actually doing right now too.
Yeah. And I think that might be the move, especially as we try to onboard normie audiences and broaden up the pie.
Well, I definitely go back and forth on this, but basically internally what I've said to our team is, for all intents and purposes, screw the crypto trader. Like for right now, at least, it's like we're at a point in time where if we don't have real users and real people that are using this product because they love the merit of what it stands on in the absence of crypto, then we have no edge and no distribution. And so refactoring the entire mobile app to be USD based.
But crypto gives you your edge. Crypto gives you your initial liquidity to entice these people to join. So you can't just dismiss these folks completely.
I think that when it comes to building a mobile app and deciding what that mobile app looks and feels like, you need to be extremely intentional about what user you're targeting. And I think if you're targeting a crypto trader, that's a very different trader from like a real person. And I think that FOMO does a good job of blending this in the middle there. But I don't know, I guess for me, success is just like how many new music fans do we have using this app? It's not like how many new crypto traders are coming here, because if you figure out how to get real people to use it, then the crypto people will come after. And I guess my heuristic has been like, we used crypto native liquidity to bootstrap talent on the network. And so like the artists that we have, the songs we have, those wouldn't be possible without using crypto incentives to get them excited to release on there in the first place. Now, in order to take that next step, we need to be able to reach like a real demographic of users. Otherwise, there is no product market fit because these crypto native incentives will leave the second that they're gone in the first place.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. I wanted to bring up something with Farcaster, because you were talking about Clanker. Dan is heavily pushing project coins on the timeline. I'll share this, and trying to bring more distribution to project coins. I think this is actually a really interesting opportunity. Something that I've been thinking about at Blueprint when I think about what does the future our on-chain economy looks like, a lack of a better phrase. And I thought this was really, really cool. And the game is distribution for up and coming projects. So the more you can help spotlight people, I feel like, would you consider this if and when Coop Records were to consider investigate launching a coin? Would you consider launching it on Clanker, given all the distribution perks that could come with it? That was like the first thing that came to my mind, you know?
Never thought of it.
Yeah.
Never thought of it. To me, when I see something like this, it feels like a good thing for someone who's new to a project entirely. Like if you're going live with a new app today and you want a coin to be live on day one, this feels like the right fit. My gut reaction off the cuff was just to say, like, I probably wouldn't try and like apply for this as Coop Records to launch our token through here. But I think it's interesting, and I just really haven't thought about it more, to be honest with you.
It's quite enticing, frankly.
Yeah.
Distribution is everything.
Honestly, that feels pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Coop, good sesh. Half knack. Knack still showed up.
Half
even
knack.
though it was half knack. What should we leave you folks off with? Any updates from Coop Records that they should keep an eye out for? Anything of that nature before we sign it off?
Keep an eye out for the mobile app. That's our kind of all hands on deck push right now. We've got a release party in LA on November 13th. So maybe it would have already happened by the time this episode comes out. I just locked in an event series in Tokyo starting in April. So 5 Coop Records events coming to Tokyo in April. We're going to be doing a drop for that on Sonium next week, giving you all access to all of the events. Been going live on Zora a lot more. So please come and check out that chat. Been giving away some free creator coins to everyone that joins, spinning some Coop Records songs, reviewing some Zora profiles. It's been a good time and trying to like really push to be like the most viewed streamer on Zora right now. So really kind of give that a lot of love. And beyond that, I'll see you in DevConnect in a few weeks, Chevy. Going to be DJing on the 19th at the base meetup. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Nice. I'll see you there. Awesome. Well, you can listen to this episode on pods.media, collect, listen, engage. And I don't know what episode knack this is. I feel like we're in the 30s, maybe hit the 40s potentially. But thank you guys for listening. The people who DM'd Cooper saying and showing fandom that you answer them because they listen to Knack. I love that. So shout out to that listener. But until then, we'll see you probably next week on Knack.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Peace.